Hi, I'm Holly Lucas, agronomist with Pioneer, and today I wanted to talk to you about one of the key steps that you can do at planting to maximize your corn yield this fall. Today I want to talk to you about soil moisture and why it's important for a corn seed to get planted down into that moisture layer. So a corn kernel needs to absorb 30% of its weight in water to start that germination process. So it's really important when you're planting to not just put that seed at the soil moisture level, but you want to make sure it's 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch down into that moisture layer. So when your planter closes the trench, that seed's got a nice layer of moist soil all the way around it. One of the ways you can test for your soil moisture is you can come out into your field. I've got my trowel here, and I've dug a little spot in the field. You can grab a handful of soil. You can squeeze it together in your hand, and you can form a little kind of patty in there. That's a good indication that your soil is too wet. So what they call is you can actually do a ribbon test. So if you take the soil and you're squeezing it in between your thumb and your first finger, and it's making little ribbons here. So it's getting close to being ready for planting, but it's still a little too moist because it's making that ribbon. What you want is a nice crumbly soil like we typically see when we're planting. That's when the soil moisture is adequate and is going to make a nice firm seed bed around that seed. The reason we don't want to plant into, first of all, you don't want to plant into dry conditions, because if that seed can't absorb any moisture, it's just going to sit there, and then you have to wait for the next rain for it to germinate. And we also don't want to plant in conditions where it's too wet, because in those scenarios, you're going to compact the soil where you're driving over it, and the yield penalty from that compaction layer will far outweigh your yields from planting early. So it's better off to wait a few days till the soil dries out and get that seed planted into a fit soil. You also have to be careful when you're planting and it's wet that the sidewalls of the furrow, they get really hard and compacted, and then that seed, those roots from the seed, they can't penetrate into that sidewall, and they'll grow down the seed trench, not out into the soil. And then if you happen to get dry conditions, that seed trench can open up, and those roots are exposed to dry conditions, and you get some drought stress. So that's why it's really important planting your seeds into moisture, and thanks for listening, and stay tuned for some more tips.